Hi, my name is Shara, and I'm one of the junior high pastors at the Vista campus. And last week at my life group, it was our first one. We introduced ourselves, and they asked us to share what our hobby is. So when it came around to me, I finally got to share my hobby, which I am so excited about. I love spending time doing this, and it's scrapbooking. Oh yeah, I love to scrapbook. I'll take the pictures and make books, and I love to do it on Shutterfly. I'm like, give me your family photos, and I'll make a book for you. And so after I said that, the next day I went and I started looking through my scrapbooks. I make one for every year that my husband and I have been married. And as I look back through my scrapbook, I kind of follow the same format. There's a page for holidays, a page for birthdays, a page about church stuff. And the last 6 years of my books, there's a page in there that I honestly wish was not in my scrapbooks. It's a page that I put in there that's important. It's important for remembrance, but it's a page about the people that we've lost over that year. And I wish that wasn't in there because I wish I didn't have to go through that loss. See, loss is something that's been very prevalent in my life over the last 6 years. I've lost a lot of family members, a lot of friends through unexpected, tragic ways of mental health crisis, cancer, things gone wrong, someone even being shot and killed unexpectedly. And we've all probably gone through losses before. Maybe it's like me, you've lost people in your life. Or maybe it's a loss of a job, maybe a loss of financial security, maybe the loss of what you thought your marriage was going to be. And loss really tests our faith and our trust in God. And there's a character in the Bible who has an entire book dedicated to him, 42 chapters. His name is Job, and he endures loss after loss after loss, loss of his family, loss of his health, loss of his wealth. But at the very last chapter, in chapter 42, it talks about him repenting to the Lord in any way that he hasn't put his faith in the Lord, but also it shows him worshiping the Lord. And at the end of his story, it sees that God actually rebuilds him up, restores him after all of this loss. In verse 10, it says, "After Job had prayed for his friends, the Lord restored his fortunes and gave him twice as much as he had before. All his brothers and sisters and everyone who had known him came before and ate with him in his house. They comforted and consoled him over all the trouble the Lord had brought on him, and each one gave him a piece of silver and a gold ring. The Lord blessed the latter part of Job's life more than the former part." Now, to be honest with you, I read that and I was like, is this like descriptive of my life? Is this prescriptive of what's going to happen for me? But the reality is, this is just describing what happened in Job's life. God chose to restore those things that he lost in his life. And when I look at the things that I've lost, the people I've lost over the last several years, I want more than anything for God to restore that. I know some of you are thinking, oh, I'd love God to restore the financial loss, God to restore the job that I lost, God to restore my marriage, God to restore this person that I lost because of A, B, C, and D. But sometimes that's not the reality. We know that in the future, moving forward, when we die and we rise again with Jesus, that when we're in heaven, everything will be restored. It says there's no more crying, no more pain, no more grief, no more sorrow. He will restore us and make us new. But while we're here on this earth, how do we rebuild, restore what needs to be restored? And ultimately, what needs to be restored when we go through tragedies like loss is our faith, our ability to trust in God enough to do what he says. A few weeks ago, like 3 weeks ago, my uncle was actually shot and killed when he was at a restaurant. And it was just so tragic and unexpected. And it's really rocked our family. But we went to a prayer gathering the next 2 days after. And at the prayer gathering, we sang this song that said, "Take it to Jesus." In the chorus, it says, "When my mind just can't stop wandering, when the tears just keep coming, when the questions are unanswered, take it to Jesus." And I think that's exactly what Job did all throughout his life. If you look at his story, he has an open communication with God, bringing his frustrations, his hurt, his pain, his praise, his worship to God. If you're going through a loss now, or you've been through one, I can't give you steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of how to rebuild your faith after loss. But I know just like Job, we can take our frustration, our pain, our grief, our hurt to Jesus. And I think that's the first step when it comes to rebuilding our faith. So I hope that encourages you and challenges you. Take it to Jesus.